up YouTube? Today's video is going to be quite life-changing actually if you do any Nemesis currency farming method or you just loot a lot in maps in general and you struggle to pick up everything. Doing this method will easily net you around probably 30%, 20 to 30% more currency per hour doing Nemesis currency maps. At least that's according to my estimation. But that really depends on how you loot already. Like if you loot the map and you're pretty much clicking on every single thing on the ground, then you're gonna gain a lot from this method that I'm gonna show you. It has completely transformed the way I play Nemesis maps and it's made it a lot more enjoyable. Looting the map has literally been cut down probably by half in terms of how fast it is, and most importantly, it gets rid of the RSI that you might experience, so your hand won't fall off and you have to see a doctor or something like that. And it'll basically get rid of carpal tunnel for you because in the end, health is wealth, and PoE doesn't really honor that motto, as you may know, because, I don't know, there's a lot of excessive clicking, especially the fragments from our Expedition League. But before we get into that section of the video, I'm going to showcase something that we found out yesterday. Aura Stacker is back, boys, right? Now, even though Aura Stacker is not really back, because this method got fixed, Aura Stacker was back for probably like 6 or so hours, at least when it was released in the mainstream media, and then you see this hotfix. This is probably the fastest that GGG has ever hotfixed something that I have known, and it's not even like a game-breaking bug, but I'm gonna go over. So basically the way it works is that there's a Voll's Protector chest, and you pretty much just stack -% mana on the Scourge modifiers. By doing that, you get your mana down to 0, and any mana that reserves a percent of your mana now becomes free to cast. So you can see here they fixed it. By fixed a bug where percentage reservation auras could be activated when he has 0 maximum mana. So pretty much it was a huge oversight. They were doing the Scourge modifiers and they didn't take into account that people could actually get to 0 mana and be able to cast every single aura. Now what I'm about to show you, you might want to be scared because this really shows you what people are like in PoE, because I'm going to go try to buy a Voll's Protector and we're going to see what happens when I ask the person if the chest has been hotfixed. And I almost got scammed out of like 20 Exalts. Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm recording the intro of this next video because I found a pretty good opportunity. So there is an Aura Stacker that was briefly for a short moment in time able to be played. So let me load up the Path of Exile game. But basically the way it works is that you can reduce your mana cost all the way down to 0, and then auras would cost 0 mana because you have 0 mana. And the reason that works is because of the new Scourge mods. Like this one, 18% reduced maximum mana. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to whisper this person. I'm going to ask him, why are you selling it so cheap? And I'm going to ask him, did the bug get hotfixed? And I'm going to see what they actually say, because I'm actually pretty curious how ethical PoE players are. So will this person stop me from wasting my Exalts? Or will I be bamboozled? Let's see. So I'm asking, did they fix it? Because I thought it was more expensive, or you just done with the build? What do you think this person will say? Because I'm pretty curious. I just wanted to see what he was going to say. So let's see. Will this person actually tell the truth? No, I just got this armor from my Scourge. Well, that's it, guys. I'm just filming this as the intro. So, never mind. I saw it just got hotfix. Sorry. Well, this is pretty much just a pretty good indictment on PoE players in general and the trade. And yeah, this guy's probably going to say never mind, but it is what it is. This guy tried to dupe me. He definitely knew it got fixed because he just repriced the armor. He's probably undercutting people. But that's the story of PoE. It's a pretty dangerous world out there, so always make sure that people are not going to try to scam you. And even when you tell them and you ask them straight up, did they change it? Did they hotfix it? They will tell you straight up a bold-faced lie saying that they just got it from Scourge. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I just got a mirror from Scourge. And the reason why I found out this was I was going to try to make a build maybe to test it out on stream, and I see it got hotfixed, and I just wanted to go through these lists. I bet you if I go through each one of these people, every single person would do the exact same thing. But maybe I'll do it later. But that's just a quick little intro I wanted to film, and just beware for the traders out there. They are vicious. So for my current Voll Lightning Strike character, I pretty much consider like the character pretty completed at this point. I don't really know if I'm gonna get any upgrades, but I'm gonna go over the potential upgrades that I could have made because there are still quite a few. But at this point, I'm trying to do my next build, which is going to be the Aura Stacker without March of the Legion. I'm gonna give you more details about that in the coming videos. But I have figured out a way to play Aura Stacker without March of the Legion boots that will actually make me enjoy the build instead of just hating my life. And then I'm going to play Instacker as it's still going to be an Ascendant, and that will probably take me through the rest of the league until the Gauntlet. Then I'll probably do some practice runs in the Gauntlet, and then after the Gauntlet, who knows, maybe I'll try playing some other games, or we'll see what happens, because I'm pretty sure PoE is going to be dying at a rapid rate. Now a lot of people ask me like, how's PoE doing, and it's always nice to see how it's doing, and these numbers are horrendous. This is probably the worst numbers it's ever been when you compare the player retention with the peak of players. At this point in the league, we're at 30%, nearly 30%, 35% maybe retention from its peak value of 148k players. And frankly, we're only like 2.5 weeks in, not even. So it's pretty bad numbers. I do think that Lost Ark and a lot of the top games coming out right now is a huge factor, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Lost Ark beta, like I said. And it's just not really the best league, but we'll still find ways to have fun, right? So this weapon is unbeatable. The only way for me to beat this weapon is to fix it and get a T1 multi. We'll see if we want to do that. Now this helm is probably unbeatable. Only way it could be better is if I got a prefix with life on it. I mean, one day maybe you can YOLO annul it. Who knows? That seems pretty risky. But if you wanted to make a better helm than this, you'll probably have to reawaken Orbit together until you get something better. But at this point, 29 life is honestly fine with me. Unatone Amulet, can't really get it better. You could get it better if you Scourged it. I could also Divine the rolls. The rolls are pretty good. I was pretty surprised I was able to get this on the Divine. But as you'll see with most of these pieces of gear, it will come down to getting better Scourge modifiers. So PoE did kind of achieve the goal it set out to do, which is making Scourge having more endgame for your builds. Because you could actually just go Scourge a Red Blade Banner, a Unato's Vow. That's probably a bad idea because it's so expensive. But you can definitely make money just by Scourging these Red Blade Banners and then selling off what you get, because it's very likely that you could get +1 max res, which I see go for 10x at times. So in terms of what items you want to Scourge, you should be trying to Scourge like Red Blade Banners, good uniques like Mark of the Elder, but make sure that you like use Catalyst. I don't think you can actually catalyze Mark of the Elder ring afterwards, as there's no tainted Catalyst. Now Brass Dome is the same thing. This one, if I wanted to make it better, I would get a +2/+1. And you can also get +2 duration besides +2 projectiles. It's pretty good still. And I would Scourge it, but that would be wasting like 50x on a Scourge, right? So at some point in time, it becomes kind of really risky. Like this item could easily get Scourged. It's not too expensive. It's like a couple X. This ring could have been a lot better. Getting 2 more prefixes for damage would have been the game changer. Maybe I'll update this ring. It's not really that hard to buy a new ring upgrade, and it's probably the last affordable upgrade that I could possibly get. Gloves I could definitely recraft by buying more reforged prefixes. I might try that out if I get some extra money. But at this point, I need to save up money for the Aura Stacker, and I need to buy a Mage Blood still. Now, the Headhunter Belt, you can Scourge it, but like I said, there's some items that, yeah, you could get it. It's perfectly Scourged, but it's just too much of a risk, right? At that point, I might as well buy House of Mirrors and go gamble it. Now this boots I like. I could get Pen on an enchant honestly for a single target DPS, which would make a pretty big difference of like 5% damage if I remember correctly on POB. But these pair of boots are honestly perfectly fine. They're really well divined, have a high lightning res roll. So I'm pretty satisfied with them. If I was to try to make this character perfect, I would try to get +5 Pierce on these boots, which would be pretty big. So instead of getting +2 Chaos Gems, I would get +5 Pierce. And is this an elevated Chaos mod? No. Or you can even get Elusive Effect if you didn't want to get Pierce. But Pierce is going to be by far the best solution here. and it will even save you some 1 point on the tree, which is pretty big. Now flasks, I don't think I ever rolled these flasks perfectly. Flasks are actually a nightmare nowadays to roll. So this one here is T3, T1. This one is what, T5, T2. So never really got great flasks. I am using immunity to shock still, but most of these stages are pretty good. It's actually kind of surprising how much Starlight Chalice got. 4x is pretty insane considering I bought it for 50 chaos. And Bottle Faith did the Bottle Faith thing every league, which is go up in value. It went up a lot slower this time around. Now, Watcher's Eye is definitely something I can improve. You could get a Anger and double Precision Watcher's Eye, and it'd be worth a lot more. Or it'd be give you a lot of damage. You could get 13% attack speed and 60% weapon elemental damage. And I think jewels, I actually have pretty good jewels. Like these are Fire Cold, Cold Lightning. Technically, crit multi is worse than attack speed, so I could technically get a jewel. Since I do have a lot of resist right now, I could definitely drop some Cold and Lightning and get a actual damage on a jewel. And this is the same deal. It's missing suffix, I think. It has 5% reduced mana cost. So not that great, but you can see here, most of my upgrades are, I actually probably do not need this thing that I could use like +3 level to critical support gems, and it should increase the damage by a lot. Because at a certain point, your damage is so high that 50% increased effect of non-damaging ailments does not really matter so much anymore. So if I wanted to, I would probably switch it over to +3 to get the higher Nightblade. But overall, this build is pretty much done in my opinion. It has done all the content. I even did a 2-player feared on 150 ping, and man, this build feels awful to play on 150 ping. But anyhow, let's get straight into how you can actually improve your looting, because as everyone knows, you need to make money to make new builds. It's actually my alternate currency tab. I forgot I actually had 2 currency tabs, but let's get straight into it. Okay, so when you want to loot the Nemesis Currency Map, or how you loot Nemesis maps faster, it's kind of a 2-step process. You use 2 filters. The reason we use 2 filters is because we use a hide all filter, so that when you're actually playing the map, it's a lot less laggy. So this one, so I'm going to include these filters. You can subscribe to it on my profile. So on the hide all filter, you can see everything is actually just hidden. You can't actually see any loot at all, and this makes it have better performance because it doesn't render any of the loot in the game.
I cannot do this yet.
So this is a complete lifesaver, especially if you're crashing a lot doing the Nemesis maps. So once you finish clearing the map and you want to loot the map, you switch to this filter called Copy of Daily Harvest. So you can see here, all the loot has beams on it. So all of the stuff that you want to pick up has beams, making it so that you don't actually need to like click on each individual thing, right? Which makes it a lot easier. You can just click on a beam and then everything will pick up. Now we can actually make this process even easier by using this button application called X Mouse Button Control. The download link is right here. So what we use in this program is we bind wheel up and wheel down to left click. So the program is over here. The way you do it is you have wheel up, you choose left click, wheel down, left click. Now this is perfectly legal as long as your mouse doesn't have an infinite scroll wheel. So it's still counted as one action because each tick of your mouse wheel is counted as one action. You can just do it a lot faster. And then the other thing you have to do is you have to put ignore repeated remapped vertical scroll for 45 milliseconds. Now this is the time limit of how fast you can do it. So you can just spam it and it won't actually do another click within the 45 milliseconds. So this stops you from getting kicked out from the game. So that's pretty much all you need. And now let's see how the looting is. So we already looted that pile. So here we got that. But this is mainly for what's it called? For Nemesis Currency. I could showcase it in a different map, but there wasn't just that much loot in here. My filter is extremely strict. So you pretty much just go over to these piles and then you just scroll your mouse wheel on it. Now this might not seem like super crazy here, but it is a complete lifesaver when you do Nemesis maps. I just didn't want to clear one for doing this thing, but as you can see here, it's pretty much you just go to the beams and then you scroll your mouse, run it up and down. This also helps out for RSI because you're not doing the same clicking motion over and over again. You're actually scrolling your mouse wheel up and down. If you prefer to just scroll the mouse wheel down, you can also do that, and it's not too big of a difference. But basically, this method alone has probably cut down my looting time by like almost 30-40% because I was pretty inefficient with looting because I was just pretty much just clicking it. And when you click it, you have to be so much more precise. Now the thing about this is you can change the loot filter as you want to show different stuff on beams. The one I've included is what I personally use for Nemesis Currency, purely because it's very strict. So you can see here that I'm picking up a lot of enchanted helms that I don't really want. So you could probably hide that on the filter so it doesn't show the beams. So here it shows blue beams for it. Uniques, I also made this really strict, so that I only see like the tier 1 uniques that could be potentially worth a lot of money. But overall, when you actually use this in a Nemesis Currency map, you will see how much of a lifesaver that this is. And it will completely change the way that Nemesis Currency is. So basically, if you use this method of looting, and you can do the maps 30 to 40% faster because of the looting time, then you pretty much make 30% more currency. So the method that was making like 7x per hour is almost up to 10x per hour, purely because you can loot faster. And this is a completely game-changing thing. It will also save your wrist from a lot of pain at the same time and actually make the experience a lot more enjoyable.
I cannot do this
because I know that right now I'm actually doing a lot more maps per hour, even while being inefficient while streaming, purely because looting has been a lot easier experience. And another thing about looting is that the map you choose is pretty important. I know a lot of people are trying out different maps. I found Tropical Island to be the best because it's a narrow layout so that all the loot is kind of concentrated within one region. So you don't need to be running back and forth to pick up everything. But hopefully that helps out everyone in the looting. Make sure to try out this program. I'm pretty sure there's other programs out there that you could do that could rebind stuff, and it should be pretty good too. But make sure to set the delay so you don't get kicked out of the game, and you don't need to use this filter. And you can also customize your filter to show different things, or not to show different things for the beam. Like in the end, this method is because of the beams. The beams makes it so that you actually don't need to click on individual things. So you pretty much just play this game where you just go hover over each pile and then mouse wheel scroll it. But hopefully that helps out everyone, and you do try out Tropical Island. I have gone like 5 scouts, which is the new div card. That's 1 out of 7 exalts. A lot of people wonder how much simulacrum splinters you end up getting, and I actually ended up getting 260 simulacrum splinters from that one map. So baking maps and getting like simulacrum splinters or scarabs is a pretty big jackpot. So if you make no money at all, or you're having trouble starting off, I highly recommend doing Lyra Ardain with some expedition. If you get the logbooks, it's a pretty good currency, and then do exotic goods, and then baking maps at the same time. You could use tower, you could use what's it called? You could also use Underground Sea or Haunted Mansion, and they're all pretty good maps. So overall, this character is more or less done. I hope the looting method will help you out. I will still be doing more Nemesis 4 maps or Nemesis 3. I do think it's by far the best currency method in the game, especially if you use the looting method. I know some people already loot like this, so it's not really going to improve the amount of currency you get. But for most people who just click and don't use the beam method or the mouse scrolling method, this should be a complete game changer and make the method a lot more enjoyable to do. It actually made me stop doing simulacrum and do some more Nemesis maps.
I cannot do this yet.
Now, I do actually have 19 simulacrums now, so maybe I'll do some more. Simulacrums are actually a lot cheaper now. They're down to 1x. I guess people don't really like leveling up gems, and simulacrum is quite boring. But if anyone knows of any like fun simulacrum methods to make it less boring, please let me know. Like the looting method. In the end, simulacrum just has a huge problem with selling everything, and you have to do large amounts of it because a lot of the money is concentrated in leveling gems. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do, and see you next time. Bye.